So today we're going to go through one of these well-known interactions that Charlie Kirk likes to have on college campuses. And while, yes, there is a level of entertainment value and also eye-roll inciting dialogue that goes on, this one in particular takes a really unexpected turn. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I do appreciate you clicking on the video to watch it. And since you are here, I would love it if you would help me to grow this channel and hit that subscribe button now. And also make sure that your notifications are turned on so that you never miss an upload or a live stream. And of course, to those of you that are returning, you know how much I truly do appreciate you. And I would love it if you would make sure that you are subscribed as well. So today we're going to look at a conversation that Charlie Kirk had on a college campus. I am not sure which one, and he was there with Vivek Ramaswamy. What you will notice about this conversation is that unlike most of these college dialogues that happen, there are quite a few red hat wearing Trump supporters in the audience. If you ever watch these interactions and you watch these videos of Charlie Kirk's, you know that that is just completely unheard of. So he's got to be somewhere where at least some level of logic and reason still exist, even though, as we are going to see, it is becoming abundantly clear that that is something that is dwindling on college campuses in particular. So just to set this up, this young lady approaches the microphone to have a conversation with Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk. She does happen to present a really solid example of how our college campuses are failing. But unlike other conversations, this one takes an unexpected turn towards the end of it, and I'm not entirely sure if this young lady intended for this to happen or if there was something else going on in her head. So we're going to react to the entire thing, and you can let me know what you think her thought process was behind her action. Among all of the issues that are usually brought to Charlie Kirk from these college students that they debate him on, this young lady doesn't really seem to have any type of grievance other than them just being there. So let's start the conversation. I'm going to kind of interrupt as we go, and then you will see what I'm talking about as the act in question shortly.
Proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself. Hold on. You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a registered voter.
I vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Than a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
I'm just going to pause it right there. So far, this lady, her only beef or her only grievance is Charlie Kirk and Vivek Ramaswamy even being there. For some reason, she thinks that people that are older than college students shouldn't be able to challenge them on their ideas or be able to even approach them for a conversation, which seems really silly to me, as you are supposed to go to college and be prepared to do just that, to have your ideas challenged, to be able to defend yourself, to be able to think for yourself and stand on your own 2 feet. And you can never learn to do that unless you are faced with people who push back on you, who oppose you, who have different ideas and thoughts than you. So it seems like a really silly argument to show up and say, how dare you even be here to talk to these college students? That doesn't make any sense. If that is what she is getting out of her college experience, she probably should ask for her money back or quit right now before she invests any further into this education that she is getting, because she's going to graduate and realize that she has been very poorly equipped to handle the outside world, and she's going to be thousands of dollars in debt for something that doesn't serve her.
No, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's
to
what we're
voters.
Doing here today. It's an open mic.
I think that you push a dangerous agenda.
Such as?
Your stance on abortion rights, for example.
Let me ask a question. What is your name?
Jean.
Jean. And what is your understanding of the current Republican Party's stance on federal intervention in abortion?
And I am so glad that Vivek Ramaswamy is there as well. And I love that he is starting the conversation out on that basis, because I know that that is something that I struggle to do at times, is to make sure that I understand where the other person is coming from. It's like, if you're accusing me of something, or you disagree with me on something, or at least if you think you disagree with me on something, let's make sure that we're both talking about the same thing, or that I at least understand what your perception of my views are, because there's not even any point in starting to debate until I understand what it is that we are debating. So we've got to find out, what does this young lady think that the GOP, that the Republican, that the conservative position is on abortion? Because as we know, there's a lot of misinformation going around about this issue.
I know that they want to bring it back to the states, right?
So it sounds like you do know that the Republican Party's current stance on abortion is they're against a federal ban on abortion.
I do
And we're
understand
talking about
that,
a presidential election as the important election that we're talking about here.
I understand that, yes.
Great. So again, I think this open dialogue is great. I think it's great you're here challenging Charlie, and I think it's great that he's willing to travel campuses across this country to talk to the next generation. We need more conversation. Now, where's the disagreement, though, on content? Because you could criticize style or why you're talking to people. Where is an area where you have a disagreement with the conservative movement, with Donald Trump, with Charlie Kirk, perhaps with myself? I was a presidential candidate last year. I think we need to talk about that more in the open. And the more we do, the stronger our country is going to be. We got a long line of people, but I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement. And I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would, too.
Just in anything, any
related?
political.
I know I keep interrupting, but you can almost see like her guard begin to come down, because he's being so rational, because he's talking to her like a human being, and he is not being combative. And where do you ever see this kind of behavior, this kind of invitation to have an open dialogue from the left when we disagree on things? They are out there openly calling people on the right a threat, that we're a threat to democracy. But the democratic process is, at least in part, in large part, to be able to have a conversation. This is the thing that free speech protects. And this is the kind of thing that we become endangered to if we can't have an open conversation. We don't get to clarify the record, and we run around with these false ideas in our head about what other people stand for, with no opportunity to approach each other, to lower the temperature, and realize that we're still just human beings trying to do the best we can and trying to understand each other.
I disagree with some of the laws that are being pushed in Congress that are against the LGBTQ community and the trans community.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to give you my view, and then I want to hear yours.
Okay.
My view is that if you're a fully grown adult, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want, dress how you want, marry who you want if you want, if you're over the age of 18.
I agree.
But you are not free to indoctrinate children in schools who are not yet of the age of consent. You are not free, just as you're a 17-year-old or a 15-year-old can't get a tattoo on their own. I don't think that you should be able to go or until the age of 18. And so the lines that I draw here is that men are free to claim to be women and swim in swimming pools. You're not free to claim trophies in a women's sports competition. You're not free to enter a women's locker room. You're not free to change a language, and you're not free to actually indoctrinate our children who are under the age of 5 in schools. Do we agree on the fact that adults should be able to live freely while still treating children differently? If so, we're on the same side of this issue.
Listen, I agree with the majority of what you said. However, I don't think that you're understanding the implications of the laws that are trying to be passed.
It's so interesting to watch these conversations play out, and I guarantee that this young lady has learned more in this interaction with Vivek Ramaswamy than she has learned from any of her college professors about how to interact with people, about how to have an open dialogue, about how to think critically and to analyze your ideas and understand that people that don't necessarily agree with every single thing are not a threat to each other. Started out the conversation with saying that she disagreed with some of the laws that are being passed, or the position that the conservative side of the aisle has on gender ideology and everything that that entails. But then when he laid it out for her, come to find out, they agree on far more than they probably disagree on. It's wild how that happens when you're actually able to talk to people.
personal attacks or the stylistic attacks. Focus on substance. The more we debate that, the stronger we're going to be as a country. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I don't think you're focusing on substance, though. That's the issue.
Hold on. But he intentionally tried to provoke substance out of you. And you said, well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass.
We're about to get to the act that I warned you about in the beginning. She had said that she was really nervous. And so I'm not really sure if that is what is leading to what is about to happen. It is blurred out, but you can tell me if you think that she's doing this on purpose or if she's nervous and doesn't realize what she's doing.
What laws are you talking about? Can you be specific?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, but this is what you do. This is what you do. You take people and you put them under the spotlight, and you.
Well, hold on. I didn't ask you to come up here. You voluntarily came to the front of the line. You didn't have to do that.
You're purposely antagonizing people on campus, asking
How?
people to come up by spreading your weird agenda.
And you can see where she was pulling at her shirt just then. And the title of this video on Charlie's channel says, "Did this hater try to flash Charlie Kirk to get him banned from YouTube?" Now, as I said, I don't know if she realized what she was doing. You could see her tugging at her clothing kind of throughout the interaction. So I don't know if she did this on purpose or not. I don't know if she was really that aware of her actions and what her limbs and her arms were doing. She did say she was nervous, and perhaps this is just a nervous tick that some people have. You just pull your shirt down and you don't even realize it. But you guys can let me know in the comments if you think that this was intentional. But to the point of her saying, you're here intentionally antagonizing people, he's not antagonizing people. He set up a table, he invited people to have this conversation, and everybody can act on their free will to come and engage with him, whether they agree with him or whether they're completely hostile to his views. So that doesn't hold a lot of water either. We're just going to listen to the last 45 seconds of this video.
We'll end on this and we'll go to the next question. When I was 18, and I'm not going to blame you for this, I also took for granted a lot of the stuff that the media force-fed me, because that's what you know at the age of 18. You say there are some vague laws making their way through Congress that are hostile to trans community.
Do you know how?
I don't think those laws actually
about
exist, but I don't blame you if that's what the cable media is feeding you. But let's get to the specifics, and then we're able to actually have an open dialogue. And that's one of the things I've learned over the last 20 years.
I think that the issue is we're getting our media from different sources. Both people are getting media from these skewed sources. The facts that you're presenting are not always correct.
That's probably the only moment of actual awareness that she has in this entire conversation, realizing that we're getting information from two different sides, acknowledging, hey, what you say isn't always correct, but you also have to say that what I am getting, the information I'm getting, isn't always correct, which, as Vivek says, is why it's so important to have these conversations, to figure out if we're hearing things that are incorrect. And it's in these conversations with real people, not from the media, not from Twitter, not from these sound bites and these brief little clips that we see of interviews. It's not from that, but it's actually from these conversations between each other where we actually get to what the truth is. And if more people did that, the temperature would be significantly lowered in this country. You guys can let me know all of your thoughts on this in the comment below. You can say hi to Coco Bean as she is trying to climb up the wall over here. Also, let me know if you would like to see this as a regular part of my channel, just a react series where we can go over some of these conversations, because if you're anything like me, sometimes you watch them and you wish that you could just get in the middle of them and offer your opinion. So let me know if that's something you would be interested in. I can create an entire playlist. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.